Hi, my name is Chu Kai-yong and I will be your presenter for this session. Today, we will discuss the topic of international organization and migration management, which will more focus on the refugees. So without wasting the time, let's start the presentation now. First of all, there are many international groups involved in dealing with people who have been forced to migrate from their homes for the certain reasons. For example, the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees, UNHCR. UNHCR is established in December 1950 and is the United Nations agency that is responsible for protecting refugees and stateless persons worldwide. Its mission is to provide the protection, assistance, and the solutions for the refugees. Next, we also have International Organization for Migration, IOM. IOM is established in 1951 and it promotes safe and orderly migration assistance to enhance the capacity of the governments to manage migration effectively for the migrants who in need. Here we come to our problem statement for today's discussion. International organizations have faced difficulties in solving the migration issues effectively due to the refugee crisis, the persistent impasse in finding effective solutions to the refugee problem, and the extent to which international organizations can intervene in cross-national migration issues. These questions has highlighted the need to understand the complexities and the challenges associated with the migration management and the limitation faced by the international organization in resolving these issues. Therefore, it's important to address this problem for enhancing the collaborations, policy development, and humanitarian efforts to foster a more effective international response towards the issue. Then we come to our first discussion question. What roles do international organizations play with respect to migration management and the refugee crisis? Firstly, international organizations has provided the education and housing help for the refugees. The informal community-based learning center had built to provide the opportunity for the refugees to learn the knowledge that can apply in their daily life. Besides that, some vocational training also has provided for them to help rebuild their life also. Based on the report done by the UNHCR states that there are around 143 learning centers located across Peninsular Malaysia that are recognized by the UNHCR. Next, they also provide emergency assistance such as shelter, food and water supply, and medical services for the refugees. Information sessions on self-protection also have been carried out to support the refugees in identifying the risks linked to the human trafficking, gender-based violence, and sexual exploitation. Besides that, international organizations have effectively reduced statelessness by enhancing the capacity of governments to manage migration effectively. They also promote the safe and orderly migration and assist in the resettlement of the refugees. In addition, they also play an important role in advocating for the rights of refugees by promoting the principles of international refugee law and raising the awareness about the refugee crisis in the public. For instance, the UNHCR will have the World Refugees Day on 20th of June each year to celebrate the strength and the courage of people who have been forced to flee their home country to escape conflict or the persecution. However, why is there a solution impasse about the refugee problems? The issue of the refugees is often politicized, and the governments may be unwilling to take in large numbers of refugees due to the concern about the public discontent, which will cause the political division. According to the Info Migrant stat, the publics in Germany protest against the plans to build accommodations for 500 refugees and migrants in a village with 500 locals due to the safety concerns. There will be a risk of getting terrorists and the criminals admitted into the country together with the refugees, which will be threatening people's safety. Next, there are around 32.5 million refugees worldwide in 2022. Many of the countries may not have the capacity to take in large number of refugees. the Trump president decided to reduce the number of refugees admitted to the country from 110,000 to 55,000, which is 50% half in 2017. This causes high competition for the resources in helping refugees resettlement, and a lot of refugees are still in statelessness due to the limited resources in getting a place to resettle. Thirdly, the lack of international cooperation also contributes to the refugee problems. Some of the countries are reluctant to offer their collaborations with the organizations due to the conflicting interests and prioritize for the citizens. For example, Middle Eastern countries such as Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and Kuwait do not accept the refugees because it is against their national policies and laws. The documentation of the international organization also did not organize by these countries, and this caused the refugees to be rejected and remain in statelessness. Therefore, how far can the international organization get involved in issues related to the refugee crisis? The extent to which international organizations can intervene in cross-national migration issues depends on various factors such as the government's political willingness and the collaboration between the stakeholders. Based on the current policy and law, the United Nations is not able to force the states to act on the refugees. International organizations are unable to enforce their decisions or policy without the consent and cooperation of the governments, which have the primary responsibility for managing migration within their borders. Therefore, effective intervention requires collaborations and partnerships between the international organizations and the national governments. In addition, the stakeholders' collaboration also plays an important role in getting an effective way for international organizations to get involved in issues related to the cross-national refugee crisis. International organizations can contribute to addressing the crisis, but they cannot solve it by it alone. It requires a collective effort from the civil society's organizations, for regional states such as the ASEAN countries and other stakeholders like the IOM to address the root causes of migration in order to protect the rights of refugees to ensure their safety. That is all from me. Your attention is appreciated, and thank you. See you next time. Bye-bye.